In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a fisheye effect to your images using the Photoshop Spherize filter. So here we have our original image, and as you see, the band is nicely grouped around the tree. And what we're going to do after we've applied the fisheye effect is end up with a result just like this. And here we can see that circular fisheye look. We've basically got our central content with the subject in the middle slightly enlarged, and the outer edges are just distorting, giving that sort of barrel distortion. And then we've also got the black border coming out and filling out the square frame. So we'll get straight into it and go back to fisheyeBefore.jpg. And the first thing that we want to do is to crop our image square. So we're going for a nice square image, just like an album cover sleeve. And to crop this down with no restrictions, first thing we're going to do is just select our crop tool, and you'll find that over in the left tool palette, or you can use the keyboard shortcut, which is just C. Now, before we go in and crop, we just want to make sure that we've got no restrictions for our crop tool. So if we go up to aspect ratio, just make sure you've got no restriction selected, and also make sure that the width, height and resolution are left blank. Now on your keyboard, just hold down the Shift key and then left click with your mouse and drag. And what that does is just maintains the aspect ratio so that you basically draw a perfect square. Now with the square drawn, we want to just move that crop selection down and position it ready for our fisheye effect. So we're pretty much in the right location there. And if we want to move it, if I hold down the Shift key, then that just helps to move it vertically without it sort of wobbling off to either side. So I'm just going to move that down so the bottom of the crop area is just below his right hand. And when I'm happy with where it's going to crop, all I need to do is click the green commit tick, and that'll crop down the image. Now before I apply the Spherize filter to the picture, I'm just going to duplicate the background layer. So to do this, I just left click onto the background layer and hold, just making sure that when I move that layer around we can see it moving, and then I drag and drop that onto the new layer icon, and that's the last icon on the left at the bottom of the layers palette. As soon as I do that, you'll see the new background copy layer appear. Now that we've got our new layer, I can start to apply the effect. So if I first of all just go Control 0, and that just makes the image fill the workspace. And now I can go in and apply the Spherize filter. So if we go up to Filter, down to Distort, and then down to Spherize, and that'll bring up the Spherize dialog window. Now on the bottom right, you'll see a mesh sample of exactly what's going to happen to the image, and the preview window just up here on the left shows a small portion of the image. So if I just click minus so I can really see the effect that that's having on the picture, gone down to 6%, which just meant that I can see the whole of the preview in that window. Now I've taken the amount up to 100%, and also just want to make sure that my mode is set to normal, and click OK to apply that to the image. Now with that filter applied, we can see that spherized the central content of the image, but the outer edges, the four corners, have been left pretty much as they were before. So what we're going to do is create that circular fisheye look by enlarging the canvas, then adding a nice black border around there. To increase the canvas size, all I need to do is go up to Image, Resize and Canvas Size, and in the second box down, just make sure I change my units to %, and in the width and height boxes I just want to type in 140 and 140%. At the bottom where it says Canvas Extension Color, because I'm going to fill this with black, I want to select black from the drop down, and then just click OK to apply that. And again, so I can see the whole of my canvas on the screen, if I just go Control and 0, and that'll fit everything nicely back into view. Now to create that nice black border, what I want to do is use the marquee tool to accurately just select around the image. So if I go to the marquee tool on the left of the tool palette, click and hold until I see this submenu appear, and I want to select the elliptical marquee tool. Now if I click in the top left hand corner and again hold down the shift key and drag that down to the bottom right hand corner, and that will make a perfect circle selecting that central content in the image. Just release the left mouse key and the shift key, and we can now see our running ants going around the image. Now at the moment we've got the central content selected, and what we want to do is to inverse our selection so that we can fill in the selection and cover these corner areas of the picture. So if I just go up to select, down to inverse, and we can now see the running ants around the edge of the image and also around that circular content in the middle. Now, just to make sure that I don't get any overlap between the area of the image that I spherized and the area of the image that has been left as standard, I'm just going to expand our selection by 10. So if I go up to select, down to modify and click expand, and in the box next to expand by, I'm just going to add 10 pixels in there and click OK. And we'll just see that very quickly just expanding out into the image. And finally, with the selection, just to feather the edge so we get that nice transition between black into the image, I'm going to go back up to select, down to refine edge, make sure I've got a smooth of 0, and I'm going to take our feather up to 20 pixels. Leave contract and expand as it is, and if I just want to see the area and that feathering slightly more visually, I can just click the red mask and it will show the masked out area that's not in our selection. So let's just click OK to apply that, and we're now ready to fill that layer with black. So to do that, just quickly go up to your edit menu, down to fill selection. We want to use black from the content drop down. Blending mode we want to stay as normal. Just click OK and I'll quickly fill in the selection. Now before we go on and add some text, we just want to deselect our running ants, so just go Ctrl D, and we now see that our image has the fisheye effect. So the final step is just to add some text. So if we first of all we just select our colours and we want some nice white text. So if I go down to the colour swatches at the bottom and just click the black and white colour samples down in the bottom left just below the colour swatches, and that will reset the colour palette. And because we want white as our text layer, we're just going to use those double-ended arrows just to flip those colours around. So we can now see that we've got white as our foreground colour and black as our background colour. So to add the text, just go to the text tool in the tool palette, quickly select that, and at the moment we'll just leave the point size at 12 and we'll select impact from our list of fonts. We're choosing impact because it's quite a large font. Rather than just quickly clicking and typing in our text, so that we can get it nice and central, if we just left click in the top corner and drag a nice large text box which goes from one edge all the way over to the other, and just release the mouse, and then we can just very quickly add in our text. So if I make sure that the text is selected, then go back up to the font size, down to 72 points, and we can now see the text nice and large in the top left hand corner. Now we want to move that text over to the centre of the image, and a very quick and easy way to do this is just go to the text alignment tool in the top tool options, click on the black downward arrow and select centre text, and then that text will instantly move across the screen. Now if I want to make any adjustments to that text, all I need to do is click back into the text box, move the cursor to wherever in the text that I want, and then I can just add in a couple of spaces and that text stays perfectly in alignment with the centre. Now to move that down and into position, I'll just click the green commit button, then select my move tool, and then if I hold down shift I can just move that down making sure that it stays aligned with the centre of the image. So we can now just repeat that process for the text along the bottom of our album sleeve. So again, just select the text tool, again to make sure that I'm on the left hand edge, and drag that over all the way to the right. And again, just click and enter in my text. And then if I want to change the font size, just highlight the text, go back in, select a different font size, again click the green commit button to confirm that, select the move tool, hold down shift, and then I can just move that into position. And the final step is just to flatten down the image. So if I go over to my layers palette, select the options and select flatten image, and that'll flatten all of those layers that we've created down into one, and there we have our final fisheye effect image created within Photoshop Elements 8.